Enjoy the show. Play on my channel.
Glad to have you aboard.
Thank you for reaching out.
I gotta be honest with you, I spelled the name wrong on my calendar and I could not find where you guys were. I was like, I hope I don't already have a link. My husband's like, well, find them. I was like, how would you like me to do that? So, and then he was like, oh, thank God.
You know, you just have to remember that first made up word. And then after that, it's just kind of,
I had it, I think I had it, it was PRE or PER, whichever one is the opposite of what you had.
Okay.
So I just had the first three letters. So everything I searched,
a
email and I was like,
and wall hanging. I like that though.
Oh, yeah.
That's the closest because most people they'll get the first word right of purjangers, and then they just complete brain fart out on the only real word of wall hangers.
Yeah, no, and then I was like, because I really can't stand it, and I understand they're being proactive. I can't stand it when they send me a link like a week in advance, and then I'm like, I can't find it now. I don't know where that is.
No, I do the Joe Rogan method. I put you in my Google Calendar. I get a notification the day before, 10 minutes before, and that's enough. And I just send you the link. It's worked. And I've had Mark McKenna on. He's never used Discord before. Amazing, so I was like, oh, I can get anybody on this platform. It's I don't have to pay for Skype. I don't have to do that. I could Discord, and there's a whole little social media vibe in there too. So I like evolving out from the core purjangers and wall hangers, which a purjanger.
The only thing I don't like is Riverstream or Restream. There's two of them. There's two of them that. It's not their fault I look awful, but I look awful on camera. I don't know what it is about those two, but I'm just like, if I really look like that, I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Please.
You're fine.
Yeah.
But...
No, but on this one I look okay, and on StreamYard I look okay, but those two, man, I look like a vulture. I don't know what's going on.
I was just on StreamYard, and it was interesting, but I actually really enjoyed StreamYard. I thought that was
I like it a lot.
Experience.
It is a little expensive.
Oh yeah.
Right now I'm paying the $25 a month yet because I have commitment issues. So.
Oh, Discord and Streamlabs is how I podcast. I love they're both free. Free is for me. My mother taught me how to be thrifty, and I never lost that skill. Yeah.
My mom taught me how to waste money and buy everything I see. So
that was Dad. Dad taught me how to do that. You gotta mix it. Little mom, little dad.
I was literally thinking of this story like 2 days ago where it says, "What is the lesson that you learned that was the wrong lesson?" And I was at a garage sale, like when I was 6, and I wanted this kangaroo, and I went up to Mom, I was like, oh, it's 50 cents, can I get it? She's like, sure, and it was gone. She goes, you never put anything down, so now I just buy everything I see. So it didn't work out the way I probably should have gone with that, but yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we are not thrifty here.
So essentially with this podcast, Frank and I just stumbled onto it, but Purjangers and Wall Hangers is a company that my business partner Chris and I have been doing for going on 6 years this November.
Wow!
And
I've been making comics for 14 months. So 14 months, yeah. So
there we go. But
I don't know what
the comics are splendid. Frank is a fan of black and white. I will read anything, but I do kind of prefer color overall. But I had the black and white and the color up after I read the color. And then I noticed the subtle differences of like the word bubble placement, how the color just read better. The story alone is great. I get supernatural and, I get good omens immediately from these 7. And, if I gotten the 8th, maybe my voice would have been a little bit better. Would have gotten the high pitch back if I got 8 to help mend my voice a bit, but I'm that invested in the comic because I love Serafina and Draven. Damn it! I was spitballing.
Did you ever watch The Crow? You ever watch The Crow?
Yeah.
Eric Draven.
Brandon Lee's that was his character, Draven.
Yeah, Eric Draven was the character's name. Yeah.
I actually think I said that right a couple times in the end credits. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this before and I can say it on screen or whatever, but they're actually written by 2 different people. So I write Serafina and I write the story, and then my co-writer writes just Draven. So his speech and his thoughts are all my co-writers.
I like that.
So yeah,
It's different.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were role players when we wrote this. It wasn't intentional. We have over 100 issues written. So, whoops.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I just started getting into role playing because Frank and myself, we have a Dungeons and Dragons podcast that I have to edit.
Nice.
I have so much to do. And it's really fun stepping into that role playing aspect of taking on a different role. And I can, once you say that, I can really see, okay, because it felt like two separate people.
I'm not that good of a writer.
With their thoughts. I was like, this woman's brilliant. Holy
No.
Like,
So
wow.
Seraphina is totally me. She talks nonstop, barely thinks, and then Draven's my co-writer who like has sarcastic lines and then thinks the rest of the time. So yeah, no, they're two different people. But we got it was none of this was intentional.
Right. It's hard at times to write someone else's, especially multiple people's personality.
Yeah.
I mean, and then keep them straight. I mean, that says something about the writer. But overall, being able to categorize and pull out the individual when you're, I guess, speaking through them, and then in a book, you know,
I'm pretty sure my character now controls everything I do, so I'm just screwed. I've been writing her for 3 years now. She wins every argument when it comes to anything. So yeah.
Win, win, win. Hey, what can you do?
It's just the artwork alone, which I saw that all 7 of these issues, I'm going to scroll up to the top so I can try not to butcher his name, Jonas Costa.
Yep.
Amazing artwork. I love this artwork. And how it goes from dream, you start off in this dream, and it's really, you find out kind of like a memory going into this hellscape, and you're just like, maybe they just, maybe they're dreaming. I don't know. I want to find out.
I had a podcaster get so mad about it. He's like, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, well, she literally wakes up and says, I've had this dream for 10 years. Like, I thought that was enough. But
it was the first line after that. I'm like, oh, okay.
It was literally the first line.
She gets up, she has her coffee, she's what? The thing that I was actually confused with was the back of the TV was unplugged.
Yeah, okay. So not a lot of people even saw that. It's actually somewhat of an inside joke. So you see how whenever you watch a movie or something, it always goes to exactly the news they need, like instantaneous. Well, this is the angel in the window is controlling it. So he made it up. That's why when they leave, he says, "You're going there anyway," and she goes, "How does he know where I'm going?" So some people could take it as he was watching the news. But it actually is, it's like a sort of inside joke. For the people that saw it, they kind of, you're probably one of the few that have seen it. It was a lot less.
A lot of TVs also have that built-in streaming thing now. But I was like, no, there's something. I'm going to clarify this because with the indie artist, I'll say, because there was a point it was Essential Beings, in Jetta Anthony, I had him on. He was director and writer of that. And there was a scene he had with a person in a library with headphones on, and they're just stacking books. And I was like, that was Stan from Spider-Man. He was like, you're the first person to point that out. And I don't know why, but my brain links onto that. And I'm like, that's a thing.
Did you notice the alligator in the sewer? Every issue has an Easter egg to an urban legend, a horror movie, or game. And there's an alligator in the sewer in the first issue, and that's, for everybody that doesn't know me, it's just the alligator in the sewer urban legend. But what it's really from is the alligator from Resident Evil, which is how I started writing because of that one scene in a commercial.
That's awesome. The alligator in the sewer. I remember that.
Series 1 is 5 books, and there's an alligator in every book. And I don't know if anyone will catch on to it, but there is an alligator in every single book somewhere. They kill an alligator monster in 2. There's the alligator in the sewer in the first one. 3 has an alligator actually in a sewer, like they're in a sewer. And so, yeah, there's always something alligator-esque in it. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because when you get to issue 7, that's when you're really understanding, oh, man. I mean, heaven and
then you gotta read it all over again. Yeah.
You're completely in it, and you're like, all right. Well, now I'm like, I started I was like, all right, let me go back to 1. I picked up 1 and 7. I was like, I got time to peruse through both of them and jog some memories. But the thing that really got me in issue 1 were the splash page of the zombie, ghosts behind the gate. And it was so Walking Dead to where I was like, when I'm reading the color, I was like, I have to see the black and white. And it brought me back to those Walking Dead comics that I absolutely love. That's what got me into reading comics. When I was a kid, I would just look at the artwork. Robert Kirkman got me to hook that comic line right up into the veins.
So you probably didn't notice this, but if you go back and the page before the ghosts show up chasing them, all the way in the back, there's a dust cloud with ghosts in it. It's to show that they're on their way, but not a lot of people caught it. And then the next one you see, they're closer up and she's like, what are those? And then they get going. But yeah, it's very, very far in the background. So it's
I don't see how anybody couldn't, like, I'll add in the page here so everybody can see what I'm talking about, but there's literally lines going right to them.
People
what is that? I don't understand. I don't know what kind of fucking white, like, dumb people. I'll just put it that way. Just because everybody can be dumb. Even Einstein was dumb outside of theoretical physics. So don't take personal attack to it. But I'm dumb. You know, everybody can be. But if you're looking at that and be like, I don't understand. Okay, so a straight, obviously, you probably need help driving too, because a straight line, there's no curves. No curves, and it usually leads you to somewhere. You know? So, a little minor nitpick at people, but
some people couldn't even figure out that it was a dream in the beginning, and she flat out says it. So that's what are you gonna do? I mean, seriously. I'm like, did you read the issue? But yeah. So, but anyway.
But I like the action between the two, because when they find each other, they're coming out of this dream that they've had for 10 years of a horrible situation. She has no idea what happened to him. Like, oh my God, it's you. And you're like, yeah, like the cops.
Yeah.
So good to see you. Oh, it's great to see you. Fucking prison was lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. The my first letterer was mad that they didn't kiss and like we're happy to see each other. I was like, well, first of all, he thinks it's a dream anyway, and she thinks it's a trick, and then they're attacked by ghosts. When exactly did you want them to kiss? Like what?
Oh, so, look out for that zombie hand.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean to kiss you. Hang on. Now I mean to kiss you. Now that we're behind this gate, come here. No, it's that would have been cheesy. It's what it is. Yes, it's a emotional shot, but when they do kiss, you're like, there we go. That's the kind of reaction you should be getting from a fan. You added it in at the right time, because I don't want it when you first meet. Like, kind of weirdo does that. That is not a good relationship. I haven't seen you in 10 years. Come here.
Yeah. And I do love the struggle that he has, his thought process of struggle in the hotel room when she's gone, and he wants to let her go, and he doesn't want to let her go, and there's a lot of struggle. I love his thought process. She barely thinks. I feel bad for her. She does once in a while, but not. Yeah, she's whatever. But he's always, simple. Especially
plan, attack. Just I kind of imagine that like insta plan. It's not that she doesn't think. It's like, I know. Nah, got that. Instant. Yep. Let's go.
Yeah, and in issue 8, he actually thinks there's like, there'll be like an issue here and there while he's just like completely deep in thought, and she's just like fighting something in the background. Like she's like fighting zombies in issue 8, and he's just like, I wonder if this is a good idea, and I don't know what I'm doing and all that stuff. And I was like, and she's like calling his name. He's like, oh, what's going on? But yeah, my favorite thing about him is that he can call her sweetheart and 4 seconds later, disembowel a little person. So it's like, hold on, sweetheart, let me just kill this guy real quick.
There's a very Mr. and Mrs. Smith feel to their relationship, to where it's just like, she's in, I forget which issue, but they're in the bar, and she's just like, oh, well, now you did it. And he's just, oh, you're just like, oh, this guy's gonna get it.
There was this one line, they do it a lot, where they're on their way to like a medical room and he goes, "Oh, it's right there, that's lucky," and she's like, "Oh, you jinxed it," and then like 5 seconds later, like this giant plant just arrives and she's like, "You did this," and he's like, "Shit." So yeah,
it's like they have that cute interaction with each other, but they are Billy badasses. But
yeah,
there's that air of, I'm badass, but you don't know how I got badass. Like, they both have history that you're like, I gotta see everything.
You don't actually see his whole thing until like book 4, where at the end of book 3, I don't want to tell, I don't want to get rid of it, but something happens and they're stuck in where he was originally trained. And this whole thing comes out and it's just, I can't tell you anything because I love spoilers, but nobody else loves spoilers. But it's just, she gets to see his background, and of course she doesn't care. She's just like, he's badass. What do you want? My
She's
man's
a demon hunter. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I did on Thursday? Like, it's worse than that. Like, I feel like they both have crazy paths, but hers is one of choice, where he had life happen to him, and he had to take that dark road. She just naturally was just like, this looks fun. Yeah,
exactly. See,
I'm not going that way. That way is boring. This way is entertaining.
Yeah.
They both badass. They can both fight.
What influenced you for your writing? Who did you read? Who are your favorites in comic books or any kind of novel type of thing?
From the 90s, I loved Ghost Rider. Was my favorite. It was the first one I saw, and I absolutely loved it. And I read it all through the 90s until there was a crossover, not Midnight Suns, the first one, but I think it was the second Midnight Suns. It had like 40 crossovers, and I was like a teenager. I'm like, I can't afford that. So I never read it again. But I love The Crow.
Right.
Crow is my favorite. So
that was Javier Saltres and Mark Teixeira starting series, right? The 90s? That one?
The Danny and Spirits of Vengeance Ghost Rider.
The first series that came out in the 90s,
no,
that one?
The first series was Johnny Blaze. The second series was Danny, and then Johnny Blaze joined him. I think the original was 70s. Yes. I think, because my brother read the original, and then I read the new one. And then they joined up, and there was Spirits of Vengeance. And I love them joined up because I love the banter and all that stuff. So, I mean, what's funny is I've never seen Good Omens, but I've been told that it's just like, I gotta watch it. And then I was told that my two banter just like it. And I was asked, are they really friends? Like, I guess Good Omens, they're really friends. And I go, no. No.
They're friends, but it's like being friends with, I can put it in automotive terms because I worked at a car dealership. It's like two people being friends who work at rival car companies. Like, hey, man, the Pepsi Coke thing, so I'm not really supposed to be your friend. But
it's funny, too, because if they had teamed up together, they could have just done what they wanted to do and accomplish it. But instead, they fought it. Now, there is another reason why her father wants it. He's using the war as an excuse, and he kind of hints at it in 3 when he first comes on screen. Like, if I find so-and-so, then it would be better. But so there's another reason he wants it, but they've been bantering back and forth for centuries. And I mean, Asma loves it. Now, Remnel does not, so the demon loves it, but the angel, not so much. But I do love their banter. I love the end of 7 where he's like, I really hate you. And he's like, that's my favorite thing about you. Like, I just love the two of them together. And I can't wait to do the prequel because they'll be really cool to write them.
Oh yeah. That'll be amazing. That'll be amazing.
Yeah, I heard this should be probably like 5 books or whatever in prequel, but I've only written 1, and it wasn't their part. It was how they met in this life. So I do want to write theirs. It's all in my head. I just gotta write it. This series is 45 issues, and if I wanted to end it at the end, then it would end great. It would have a great ending, and you can go on with it. Unless you read the epilogue, and then all hell breaks loose, literally. So then I love series 2. Like, if it's popular enough and I could do series 2, I already have 40 issues written and series 2 is done. So you could end it at the end of series 2. However, I have too many ideas, so I'm on book 2 in series 3. So, and book 4 is the war between Heaven and Hell teams up, and they fight against my characters, Anubis and Egyptian gods and their mummies, and Hecate and Hades and the Greek gods with their zombies, which of course my characters do not like because they've been killing mummies and zombies the whole time, and here they are like teamed up with them. So
that would put a
but
hamper
I haven't
in
read that yet either.
That would put a hamper in it, yeah.
Yeah. Like, here, team up. But yeah. So.
And go. Yeah, no. Yeah. See, I see the angel and the demon characters almost like good omens, but it's like if it were like two other angel and demons in that universe and their exploits, like David Tennant and brain farting on the other guy's name, Michael. Damn, I can't remember his name. But their characters are very much the actors themselves, and these characters are kind of reminiscent of that, where I could see people see just immediately good omens. But there's been that kind of mythos of angels and demons messing with human beings for a very long time. So it's making it your own of a common trope, and it's almost a compliment to get, hey, this is like that award-winning Amazon series, and you're like, totally. Completely.
Yeah, what an insult. Yeah. Very, very insulted. But yeah, so I mean the Kickstarter for issue 8 just ended, and I don't know if you saw it. It was crazy. Like, I did not expect it to do what it did. It reached 5,000 and 150 backers.
Wow, that's impressive.
I did not see that coming. I don't know where these people came from. I appreciate every freaking one of them, but I'm just like, everyone's like, what'd you do? I was like, I have no idea. And I didn't even like post during it because I was scared to post because I thought it would, like, sometimes when you post things, people back out because they remember they backed it. So it's like, and I mean, I know it's January, so it's a hard time because people had Christmas, but I had like 25 decreases and 15 cancellations, and I still made 5,000 and 150. So I was like, that's crazy. And now I'm terrified because I'm like, now I have to push even harder for the next one because I'd never been in the 4,000s before. So now I have to like get back in the 5,000s. Like, that's pushing my luck there. So let's see how that goes.
Once you're there, you at least got somewhat of a base, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, especially if you expand on the story correctly, like you have been from what I've seen, because it's one thing to just kind of, get a one-off like that, but it's a different thing to build to it. And yeah, it can be intimidating. I can see that from outside perspective. Like, I've never even had 5,000 people say I did a good job at one time. So you're doing good. But I can see that intimidation factor of going forward because it's like, wow, man, like my idea is like people are really backing this and it's really looking good. That is how I think you're doing a good job. Because if you just go forward without any kind of, fear, then that's where you make mistakes. To where you think you know everything and, this is going to be perfect.
I don't know anything.
And that's to quote Socrates. The wise man knows he knows nothing at all.
Yeah. And there's also the one that says it's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and prove it. But I've never listened to that one. So, but I do have, like, it's really weird because I'm somewhat new. I mean, everyone's like, you're no longer a rookie because it's been 14 months. But I still, I'm still learning. Yet people that have been doing this for 5-10 years are coming to me and be like, oh, what did you do? Or how did you find, because I did 145 planned podcasts last year, not including like 10 or 20 that I did spontaneously. They're like, oh, well, how did you find these shows? And how did you get merch? And why did you do this? And where did you get your hardcover printed? And all that. I'm like, I'm supposed to be asking you guys this. Like, I joined this chat to learn. I am the new one. You've been doing this for 10 years. But I guess it's a compliment. It's just weird to have people. It doesn't feel like it's been. It doesn't feel like it's been a year, while it also feels like it's been way longer. Like, I feel like I've been doing this forever, and then I'm like, it's only been 14 months. And then I'm like, only 14 months, or has it already been 14 months? Like, it goes really crazy like that. And I'm really enjoying it. We're really far ahead. So between me and you, we're already in the middle of drawing issue 13. So we're very far ahead. For a couple of reasons why I did this. Couple reasons. One, this is my artist's first job. Well, now it's 13, but I mean, this was his first job, and he quit his job during the second issue he worked on with me, and he's like, "I'm gonna do this full time," and I was like, "Shit, I hope it works out." So, I just kept
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. So I kept.
Hey Frank, I just quit my job. We're gonna go full time on this Tales of the Hunted thing.
So
how old is he?
Huh?
How old is he?
I don't know. I just know he's older than me. I think he's in his 50s. So he's older. Yeah, because I've seen him play in a band, so I know he's older than me. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad he did, but also it was a lot of pressure. So like, I literally pay him every month for a full issue, to ink and to pencil and ink, because he's just that fat, and he's so talented.
Oh
The
God,
second reason why he really, and he started school like in the middle of it. I think it was like 4 or 5 issues in. He's like, I'm gonna go to school. So he actually every Thursday he goes to school. And so he's learning new techniques as he goes. I mean, you should see issue 4. I mean, issue 8 and 9, and they're just phenomenal. He's just so amazing. And the other reason is, to me, eventually he's going to get too popular, and he's going to take longer. And so I want to be far enough ahead that I could still keep up the every other month thing. So plus, I don't want him to ever get another job. So I'm just like, you keep drawing until like I'm broke or lose the house. You know, if you ever come back and interview me again and there's like a library behind me, I probably lost the house. But for now, we keep going, and we hope it works out.
Or you got so successful, you have a library of content behind you. Like, this is everything I made. Oh, hang on, let me blur the background. I'd like to be modest, you know.
We'll go with that one. But yeah, so I mean, I went into this. My husband's incredibly supportive, and he said these words, and I told him, I was like, "You're gonna regret it." He goes, "Go all out for 2 years. If it doesn't work by then, maybe you want to cut back a little." And I was like, "Fair enough." So my 2 years, this was October. So I bought all the covers I needed for 2025, 2026. So I have all my covers, so I don't have to buy anything. My artist is on issue 13. So that's like October, I think, and then 14 will be like after that. So he'll probably be done with all of next year's by the end of this year. So I have till October to make it work out. So I think I'm on the right path.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So, I mean, I went from my very, very, very first podcast. My very first Kickstarter was 35 backers and $900. But my second one was 75 backers and $2,800. And then every single one after that has been over 3. And we skipped 4 and we went to 5 with this one, which I'm okay with. I'll let it go. It's all right. So yeah, it definitely it's going in the right direction. So
100%.
Here's hoping it keeps going.
Well, it's the hard work. You have planned out so far in advance that it's like a safety net in a way, because you have that backing, and the story itself is well thought out. It's driven forward. It keeps you wanting to turn the page, and that is what I keep telling fans about. This is why you go to the indie market, because these are not stories that are cookie cutter. Here is Captain America. Well, we changed Captain America, and Hydra's this different person. It's the same thing. You have something completely different. Oh, ghosts. They're not your, they're more, I would say, if artistic wise, they're more reminiscent of like Ghostbuster ghosts than that, the classically thought of ones,
Yeah.
It's very well done. It's a bunch of independent creators pulling from their own, idea wells of all the content.
I also like the plotters. I love my plotters. the vampire. Did you read the issue 4 through 6?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the
Yes.
vampires. So the lore. I want to do a mini series just with them hunting down clotters because I love the concept of my clotters because they're so ruthless and so horrible. So to tell a little bit about them, there's a reason why their heart only beats every 6 hours because I don't like. This is my scientific mind trying to combat the fantasy supernatural mind.
Yeah.
So it always bothered me that vampires in every story can bleed. Well, forget about the erection part, but they can bleed when they have no blood, no heart pumping, no nothing. So I was like, well, how do I do that? So I was like, well, if I make it every 6 hours, it's right before rigor mortis. So as soon as rigor mortis would kick in, the heart beats and it resets it. So it's always clotted blood. They're a lot stronger. But the bad side is that they require more protein. They can only feed from humans. They can't feed from a bag. They can't feed from and since they have their souls, they're not like Buffy. They have their souls. So if originally mutated this heartbeat, if they turned regular people, the people would just, if they don't feed directly from a human, they start to decompose like a zombie. And so in that case, if you don't turn someone ruthless, they won't do it. They'll just decompose. They won't want to kill other people. So they wound up killing or turning the most ruthless people, like, murderers and sociopaths and all these things. That's why they're all so much more ruthless, which I couldn't really get into the lore without making it like a huge exposition episode, but then you have the thing where if they bite you or taste your blood, they can track you anywhere you go, which just makes them awful. And then when you kill that one, the entire nest can track you wherever you go. And they'll seek revenge, and they can go in the sun, because originally vampires could go in the sun. It just didn't because they're shadow creatures. But if they wanted to, they could. They don't, maybe get a blister, not really a big deal. But originally, you couldn't stake them. Originally, the reason why they staked them was to pin them to the coffin. So instead, the only way to kill them is to chop off their head or burn them. But it takes 6 hours to burn a body. So
it's wild.
I love the clotters. They were my favorite, and I wanted to do it for longer, but it didn't fit in the story. So I might do a mini series one time where they're just going after these things.
You could do an annual. I did the annual for Frank's comic, Corissa the Hunted. Kickstarter's going to be coming out soon. I have the video to work on. Once again, I keep busy. But I found it really awesome because he gave me the backstory for his comic, and he gave me the synopsis. He said go, and it was the first thing I've written for a comic, and it was really fun. And being able to create like that is like, I watch the Stan Lee quotes and stuff like that. It really gets you kind of pumped up to really create something like that. So to see, you're just you're a newbie. It speaks to me because I never thought that, that I would have gotten a chance to even write, let alone for, a guy like Frank, who's been in the industry. He doesn't like it when I talk him up. The man's modest. It's
a 12-page backup story that I broke up into 3 pieces, 4 pages each. And I said, like I said, I gave him just synopsis. I just said, just go with it. We'll fix it. And it's 12 pages. It's kind of my also first venture into writing as well. My C- in English, ain't gonna get me any high honors. Okay, no Hugo Award for me. So, but nonetheless, I can't be hard on someone else and say, I need this perfection. It's just, let's get it done, and we can, work out the kinks as we go along. So, that's what I did. So
nice. Yeah, I'm dyslexic. I never even bothered to think I could write. Yeah, it's very, very common. A lot of people are. I didn't even know until I was in my 20s, I think. But I just used to always fail, like spelling and like word problems. But otherwise, I was I was a B student because I was lazy as F. Like I just was like, I did my homework in homeroom class. I didn't really care. Right. Which pissed off my teachers because they're like, you're really smart. I was like, what do I use it for? I don't need it.
If the teacher does not give the student a focus outside of tomorrow, well, you can't expect them to do it either. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
I had just
I can come down to the teaching because
comic books. You know, I wouldn't read. You know,
Yeah.
It wasn't until like after high school that I actually went into a bookstore and actually, you know, purchased a novel. I mean, a full no pictures at all after high school. You know, so
I read Watership Down when I was young. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. It's pretty it's pretty. I watched a lot of things as a kid. Somebody asked me I did another interview earlier today, and someone said, "Do you think what you watched or read as a kid shaped you into the mindset you have today?" I was like, "Well, one of the first movies I watched when I was 6 was Nightmare on Elm Street with the scene with the heroin dealer and then the marionette. That might have done something. I thought it was amazing.
So maybe we'll check that maybe box.
So I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I mean, like, this guy's a puppet with his veins. Like, I thought it was awesome. But I was watching from the stairs. I wasn't supposed to be watching, so I don't really know what was going on. But I mean, a normal cartoon was The Last Unicorn and Watership Down, which is like super violent. You know, a giant bull that, you know, knocks you into the ocean, and then, you know, a giant vulture that just will tear you apart if you look at it or run away from it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, it might have did something. I don't know. I was very lucky that my mom didn't put me in a rubber room, because I used to sketch when I was younger, and I loved, and I was never depressed. But I drew the most depressing things you could possibly imagine, because it was the easiest emotion to show, you know? So I would sketch things from The Crow, which she didn't know that's where I sketched it. She just saw these drawings of like a horse wrapped in barbed wire from The Crow, or the skeleton in the dress from The Crow. And my mom's like, "Oh, that's really great art." And I was like, "Thanks, Mom." So I guess I
put this one right up on the fridge.
Yeah.
My
We'll
daughter
show
did
everyone the skeleton, and there was one where a werewolf had torn someone apart. I don't even know where that one came from. I had the Ghost Rider. I had all these. Oh, I had the Dungeons and Dragons manual. That's where I drew all the monsters from. Like, I had tons of monsters. I also drew a Flutterby from Serendipity. So I did draw something nice once. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I got the same attention as the gory vampire and werewolf. So, you know, whatever. Everybody
branches out. Yeah.
You know, it's really funny because I only drew for like, I have the sketchbook still. It was, I think I was 90, it was 91 or 92. I only drew for 1 year. That's it. And they were awesome. Like, the pictures looked identical to what it was. But that's all I could do. Like, I could see it and I could draw it, but I couldn't like come up with it in my head. Like, I couldn't draw what was in my head. It just, I was bored.
I get that. I was the same way. I would doodle.
I have to tell you this. I am someone that, you know, I mean, it's few people have that photographic, you know, image thing in their head. Few people. Everybody else uses a reference. Now, how you twist it and which way you reassemble it, you know, that's you. That's the personality that is you. After a while, the same things become familiar, you know, human body, whatever. But, you know, the refrigerator doesn't really change, you know, but things like that. But it's reference. So, you know, don't be, you know, cast yourself aside and say, well, if I couldn't create it all, you know, let me just chuck it all away. Goodbye, dear life. You know, you know, it's over. You know, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that at all. Yeah, just get back to it.
That's how I write. I write using my shitty little drawings and doodles. I will think out, all right, what do I want this? Well, I want this person and this and that.
At least you think out. I don't think before I write. I just sit down and write.
Well, that's how I've kind of mixed it with both recently, you know? So that's how I passed high school, is I would just sit in front of a computer and type like the night before, because I'm a procrastinator. And I would just I'd get a passing grade. I passed high school by the skin of my teeth. You know,
I'm here.
I was sliding into home, and it was a dusty finish, and the umpire said he's safe.
Yeah. I I kept in general. My teachers hated it. My brother hated it. They wanted me to be in high honors because I do have some intelligence in there, but the laziness kind of overpowers it. So it's kind of like, I think the smartest people are super lazy. That's why everything gets invented. They don't want to do it, so they invent something else to do it. So I think the smartest people are lazy. But I didn't want to do homework. So my brother's like, why would you want to get a B in general honors when you can get, what do you say? Why would you want to get an A in general honors when you can get a B in high honors? I was like, why the hell would I want that? Like, it was like not fully in my brain of why I would want that. And I didn't hate school. I hated homework. And I actually believe that students shouldn't have homework. You learn in school and that's it. That's it. That's why you're in school. Why are you giving me homework when I get home?
Well, I just think the education system's a little bit antiquated. Because
there is no education system anymore.
There's the different people learn in different ways, but you don't cater to that child's learning needs. You just say, sit in this chair. Your dad did it before you. His dad did it before him. Buckle up, Buttercup. Get to 12, and then get yourself in debt. Keep going. You know, they're putting you in the box. The debt part. You pass the institutions to get, you know, into the factories and all that. But some people, it doesn't work for them. And a lot of creative people, guess what? The people that we've had on our podcast, they don't really do good in school.
Yeah.
I mean, Jabbar, he's doing good. He's doing good now. He's doing great now. I mean, but you know, a lot of people, we didn't do. Like I said, you didn't do good. But I think there's something to that because it's people learning differently. I was always a visual learner and an audible learner, secondary. So I'm not really gonna. If you sit in front of me and drone on for hours, I'm gonna fall asleep or I'm gonna doodle to try and not fall asleep.
Right.
I can't. My dyslexia is actually worse verbally. Like I don't get numbers. I don't get addresses. I just don't get. I don't retain information when it's audio. That's why I can't listen to like my friends are always trying to like, you should listen to these podcasts for like true crime and all that. I was like, it'll never retain. It'll just there. You know, I don't focus on any of it. I have to have subtitles on. I'm one of those. Has the subtitles on when you watch TV, and that's
okay because I hopped on that train a long time ago. Okay, subtitles are not a dirty thing. All right.
Yeah.
Subtitles are on that big screen in what I call the green room. Well, it's actually kind of teal right now, but in that room, there's subtitles are always on all of my screens. Yeah. Especially because I watch anime, because you'll get the literal translation, and then you'll hear the voice acting, and I'm like, it's like the best of both worlds. I can listen to you, and I can see what they really meant.
So I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm old enough that I was at a science fair when the DVD was invented. You know, they were showing, oh, this is the new thing, the DVD. I hate learning new technology. I don't like it. I'm good at it.
I'm smiling already.
Oh my God, I was around with the 8-track. Okay, please. DVD, please. There's such a light layer of dust over the DVD as compared to that.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh my God! Look at this. It's practically shining in the sunlight. Okay.
Frank has to get a razor blade to scrape off that thick layer of dust on that 8-track. Okay. He picked up the 8-track and the dust didn't move. And he was like,
a pickaxe and a piece of dynamite if I have to, but it's very white again, you know.
The only reason I switched to DVD was they told me that for anime I can watch it in English or Japanese with subtitles, and I was like, oh, no more buying 2 cassettes or no more picking and choosing. That is the only reason why I moved to the DVD.
See, I'm 37, so I picked up anime later. If it wasn't on TV, you know, Dragon Ball, all that, I hopped into it in the advent of the internet, where there were plenty of pirating sites that would just get anime and dubbed anime across the globe, and you could watch.
I had to get bootlegs. I had to get bootlegs in New York City. That's what I had to do. I actually was so obsessed with Inuyasha when it first came out.
It's a great
that I had to. Huh?
Inuyasha, I like that one. That one's really
good. Oh yeah. So I just got my husband into it. But I had to have somebody in Japan send me the PAL VHS tape. So I had to get a special VCR that could play these, no subtitles, just so I could watch it because I love the manga so much.
I'll do you one better. My best friend in high school, Garrett, he would get the tapes from Japan. It wasn't like subtitle or anything. It was Japanese, and it was that Legend of Brawley movie and all these different kind of anime. He didn't know Japanese. He would just watch.
Yes, I would just watch.
Guess.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see the characters.
I watched him too because he let me borrow. But I like to point it like it was his idea though.
I love discovering the bootlegs, like the really crappy bootlegs in like the mall stores. I don't know if you guys had those, but they had to keep moving because it's illegal to get half the stuff. So I would go in, get Pocky, and get some bootlegged Fushigi Yugi or Inuyasha, and I loved it, and it was fantastic. So I absolutely loved that, and I would get the manga. You know, there wasn't in Barnes and Nobles in my day. But I'd have to go to New York City, and you know, they didn't speak English in the stores, and they looked really, really suspiciously until you spend like $500 on manga, and then they remember you the next time. Oh, come in, you know, whatever.
Where did you go to get them?
Yeah, love it.
Where did you go to get them? In New York City.
There was 3 places. I know one was Asahira, but the other one was like this little like basement store. Like there was one that was huge. I think that was Asahira, I think. You walk in, it's like 2 floors.
There was one in Jersey that I went with a friend a long time ago. I mean, a long time ago. And I know there was one on Fifth Avenue that had a lot of the magazines and a few of the I'm talking like 86, 88, like that. But there was only a few. Yeah, the rest were in Chinatown, and those were all in Chinese. Those were Chinese ones.
Yeah, I think I'm saying it right. Asahiya is the only one that was like, you walk in, it's like Barnes and Nobles in Japanese. Like it was huge, like books lining that. I mean, it was huge. The other 2 weren't bootlegged, but they were like, you had to know they were there. And my boyfriend at the time that I lived with knew. He was the anime junkie. He knew. But Asahi is the only one that I can remember being. I don't know if it's still there. I should look it up. It's been a long time. I mean, this is like 95, I think I went, or before that. I was in like high school.
This is a little trip into a different Perjanger's view of history right now, gang, because I haven't mentioned it yet.
Locations, it's just it's titillating to him, you know.
But a Perjanger is essentially a person or group who are love infatuated, but with nerd and geek culture, which you could be a nerd or geek about anything. And anime is a very popular thing right now. Really big with kids. I've said this story many times. It's how I started podcasting again with Chris, is because he did a career day at his daughter's middle school, and all these kids were just talking about anime. And I was like, this is a great show.
Yeah.
This is an amazing podcast. And all these kids had, honestly, very, very well thought out opinions about these anime. It wasn't like, I like Naruto. They had very well thought out and well constructed. These kids were going places.
My very first anime ever was Lotus War. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's very Dungeons and Dragons. But I was at a friend's house, and they were watching it, and I was not paying attention. So it's a very fast reading anime. I mean, it's very fast. Subtitled. So I borrowed it after. I was like, the art was gorgeous. I had to borrow it after. Then I watched it, and I was like, I need to get this whole box set. And I think it was like $165 for the tape box set, which I did not have at the time as a teenager. But I somehow convinced my father to get it. I don't know how. He's a really cheap bastard, but
that was a lot of money at the time.
Yeah, that was
new wall jangers that are watching. That was a lot of money. It is a lot of money now, but it was a lot of cash back then.
It's a lot of money now, but it wasn't as much in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot for a box set, VHS. And fortunately my father loved it, but Yeah, that was my first anime, and then I was like hooked. I was like, this is awesome, and I love the whole Dungeons and Dragons feel of it, but the art was just phenomenal. Like now I gotta go watch it. It's been like so long since I watched it, but Lotus War is like one of my favorites that I have not watched in for like.
There's a lot of really good dungeon crawler animes out right now.
Yeah.
There's one that not really a dungeon crawler, but that time I got reincarnated as a slime is one of my favorite anime ever. I love that. There's so many goofy reincarnation animes out there. Like, dude, I hope that's what happens when I die. I want fucking magic powers. I want a gaming HUD. I want to have like a great stage. Like, dude, if I don't see that, I'm going to be disappointed. So I'm probably going to be disappointed, but I love those animes to where, this guy walked in front of a bus. Yeah, he's now a wizard. Okay.
Yeah, he's now a wizard. Yeah.
There's one I found on Funimation. It was called Gate. It was just a gate. It walked through. Hey, I got powers now. Oh, that's cool.
Interesting. I do remember, what's one that I remember that was like High School of the Dead.
Oh,
was a good one.
I love that one.
High School of the Dead. I was so mad that they didn't have more anime. I think you had to go into the manga to read it. I was like, I need more anime. But yeah. I should look that up. Do they have more? Sometimes they just pop up more. Like I had watched all of Inuyasha. I forgot about it for years because I tried adulting and stuff, which was a waste of time. And then like years later, I was like, I haven't seen it in forever. And there was like another 100 issues, episodes. I was like, what the hell? So it actually had like a whole other ending, which is not on Hulu, by the way. So I have my DVDs. I'll have to pull them out when we get to that point because I know my husband's going to want to see the real ending, which I loved. I loved the ending of Inuyasha, like the true ending with the whole Make-A-Wish thing, and I loved it.
The real anime question I need to ask you now is how far, if at all, have you gotten through One Piece?
I have never seen it.
Okay. I've did the plunge. I got to about 500 episodes. Those first,
wow.
I had a friend that I used to podcast with. We did an anime club, and one of the fans that we had when we did it, he became a good friend of the show, and he told me, he was like, dude, me and my girlfriend, she's my fiance now, they're now married, Corey. He's like, we go through every once in a while and we watch One Piece, and we'll just watch through up to the current episode because it's still going.
Isn't there like there's 1,000, right? Yeah,
it's still going. Both of them, the manga and they never stopped. Like on Dragon Ball and even Doctor Who, they had some breakup periods there to where there was nothing going on. Guess what happened? One Piece still, like the manga, the anime, I'll say, is actually 15 minutes of original content, and then in the beginning, there's what happened last episode, and then there's a shortcut to what will happen next time. We'll find out. And that's your 25-minute episode of any One Piece. So you actually get a little bit of content, and you couldn't
Someone just
skip.
told me that you have to. Is it? I'm probably going to say this wrong. I think he said you have to get to episode 300 before something important happens.
Yeah.
And then you're hooked. Is it 300? I don't know. He said it was something. And I was like, you waited until 300. Like I give it most shows like 3 episodes. He's like, no, you gotta get to 300. I was like, what happens at 300?
Maybe one. Maybe one. If you you don't get my attention, forget. I mean, you're not even going to make the full issue. I mean, it's really,
man. Like, imagine me trying to sell this podcast. Like, look, man, you got to get to episode 300. Okay.
Yeah.
Once you get to episode 300, it's all up from there. All right. It's all up from there.
Yeah.
It's just such a ridiculous comment to make. To where, even just like somebody going to you and saying, hey, man, if you watch Supernatural, it's a really good show. Oh, that show that has like 15 seasons, to where some of these seasons are like 20 episodes?
26, yeah.
26. No. I've tried. I was like, tap it out, coach. Tap it out. I get it. Kids' daddy issues. Good.
Never goes away.
Yeah.
That never goes away.
Maybe I got my own. Maybe I have enough of my own daddy issues. I don't need to watch yours. Just keep your daddy issues to yourself. We all got them. Sit in the corner, Junior. There's probably a meeting for that.
Sam has my hardcover. Jared Padalecki.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I saw him at a con. He signed it, and I was like, "Do you want a copy?" He's like, "Can I really take it?" I was like, "No, I'm teasing you. Yeah, you can really take it." The only problem with that is, so I have an homage cover to Supernatural where it's from a poster of Dean and Sam. However, Draven is in Dean's spot because he's more manly to me. I don't know. And then Seraphina's in Sam's spot. But when he was going to sign it, he was so excited when he thought that he was Draven. He's like, man, I'm jacked. And I was like, crap. I can't tell him that it's not him. He's like, I can't wait to tell my wife how jacked I am.
Absolutely,
and I was like, that's it. So when I'm gonna have Jensen sign it this year, I'm gonna tell him that he has to sign over it and to tell him the story so that he can go make fun of Sam, Jared when he sees him. But I didn't have the heart to tell him because my husband was behind me and he was just like, you didn't tell him. I was like, I did not have the heart to tell. He was so excited to be jacked.
I wouldn't tell him either.
I kind of see why.
I wouldn't tell him either.
Draven has longer hair. Yeah.
You don't need to know. Yeah. He's not going to watch this. I guarantee you. If he calls you out on seeing this on this podcast, you let me know. You let me know. It will make my day. Make my day. My century right now. I mean, let's see how high this ladder goes. But if I get him watching, there's something here. There's something here. But I can tell that there's something with your comic because I was hooked after the dream. And after the TV.
People were hooked.
After the TV, I was like, let's see where it goes.
But you were hooked before. Everyone's like, as soon as they were together, I was rooting for them. And I was like, great. But you're like, I was hooked for the TV.
It was as soon as I saw that cable wrapped around, I saw the guy creeping outside the window. I was like, stalker? Oh, yeah.
I'm working on a point of view mini series where all of the people that you saw, it shows you what they were doing to get to that point. So you see the point of view of Camiel outside the window, how he got there, why he got there, who sent him there. You get to see what how Davis planned everything and manipulated all the facts by giving, the remote to the angel and all that stuff. You get to see how the angel got Anubis. So I'm working, it's the point of view of like 6 different ones that are like 6 pages each. So
I love that because I had questions on all those and knowing that.
Everyone does.
Oh, good. She's going to answer them. She's a Girl Scout of comics. Okay. She is prepared, son.
Ask anyway, instead of leaving us all hanging and, cussing, the last day, it's like.
Oh, you want to know? Here you go.
I
put the money in my hand.
I like for the Remnant to say I need Serona back. Someone got so mad at that. They're like, who's Serona? I was like, it's just supposed to give you a hint of why he needs the weapon for something else. She's like, but I need to know. I was like, well, it's a long haul. It's like, this is a long wait. I might put in the point of view because it really upset her. But she's like, I need to know now. I was like, I can tell you, I don't mind giving spoilers because I myself love spoilers.
Yeah.
But I'm hinting at,
half and half. Sometimes you can and sometimes you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. I could tell anyone. I love talking about it. I mean, the thing is, and I had the hardest time with this. There's so much backstory and lore to it that I can't tell without giving things away. Like what happened in the last life that makes this one different, and Camiel is at fault, but it's not his fault. And he hints at it where he's saying, isn't it odd that I did this and the opposite happened? And he's like, no, do your job. And you kind of get the hint like, what the hell is going on here? And he does mention at the beginning of 13, he's like, well, you told me to do this and that's why I did this. And he's like, well, that's what the prophecy says. So there's all these hints, but I want to just show what happens, like they don't even know what happens. And I'll give you a secret. The angel and demon were not in the original novels until way later, but I could not say that they're not human because they don't know they're not human. So I had to put the fathers in it to show that they're manipulating it and that they're not human because I didn't want it to just be 2 normal people just, going through Helltown for no reason. And it fits so
just like a
perfectly
Jay
in
and
the story.
Silent Bob fucking
Yeah.
randomly walking through Helltown.
Yeah.
Like, yep.
Yeah. Hey,
What's
how
up?
you doing? Yeah, what's up? So it worked out really well adding them, but I didn't. They weren't originally in it till like probably series 2, but they just were so much fun to write that I had a ball writing their banter, and issue 7 was a ball just like having them like go back and forth and all this stuff. So I really enjoyed having them in it. I love them showing that they're pulling the strings and they're the the manipulators, and they're actually being manipulated by a human that they don't even realize they are. So there's so much lore in it that I can't kind of show how great the story is. So it's like I want to tell everything all the time, but you can't really do that. But I
it
want
shows.
to.
It shows in your
Yeah.
product because, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm reading the black and white and the colored back to back. I see the subtle differences, even just from a black and white to color. It's very easy to just send that black and white off and say, "Yep, color it. There we go. You got your color." But you made subtle differences to make it easier to read in that color version. It shows passion and also care into the product. I often like to say on this podcast that an idea like this, it's because you nurtured it. A lot of people pick up a golden seed and they're like, "This is a great idea." And they set it and forget it, just like Ron Popeil told them. But the people who pick it up and they're like, "You know what, let's add a little water here, set it down and put it under a heat lamp," and you nurture this idea, and it's like a pumpkin patch now because it has taken over. You just wanted a pumpkin, and now you don't have a backyard. You have a pumpkin patch.
Accurate. That's very accurate. Yeah. Yeah.
I tried it one year. My neighbors tried it another year. They're probably going to try it again next year. Guys, just if you don't live in the country, don't grow goddamn pumpkins, please. The squirrels love it.
They love you.
I'm glad that I thought of doing it after I finished series 1, because like it just made it so much more reassuring that if nothing else, I have the ending to series 1. And I didn't have series 2 yet, so I actually wrote series 2 while I was trying to do the whole comic book thing, and now I'm finished with series 2 and I started series 3. So there's so much to it that it's just, I don't know where the hell, I have no idea where half of it comes from. Like I sat down to write, and I even told my curator, I have no idea what I'm writing. She's like, "You'll figure it out." And I just sat down and started typing, and it wasn't where I thought I was going to go, but towards the end of it, you had Anubis fighting a kraken in an underwater city. Like it wasn't planned, and I was like, "Oh, that works out really well."
Checks out.
I don't think I'm really in charge of the story. I think I just
you're tapping into a muse. That's
you're tapping into something that's really
ritualistically
you are
sit
in
down
control.
here.
Yeah.
I like to hope that I'm in control, but I don't know. I've had arguments. One major argument.
Don't try to be in control. Let it go. Let it go.
I had one argument, and I was writing in issue 5, and the scene made no sense. And I'm halfway through this, what I think is halfway through the scene. I was like, I'm going to start over. I don't know where this is going. And my mind's going, nope, just keep writing. I was like, no, I don't know where this is going. This room sounds weird. The floor is weird. The thing's stuck. I don't know what's going on. So not my character in my head or my muse or whatever. It's just like, keep going. And when I finished, it was like the coolest scene, but I had no idea it was going to happen. So I said this to my co-writer, and she's like, where the hell did that come from? I was like, no idea. She's like, I can't wait to see what happens. Like, me neither. I had no idea.
It's that deep part of you. Let it go. Just don't try to really harness it. Let it run its course, and then come back and go. Then you edit, and then you can rewrite or rearrange.
I actually never do that. I never edit or
rewrite.
Whatever method.
I mean, because I watch the movie in my head, and I'm just taking dictation.
Yeah.
So it used to be a movie, and now it's panels. Ever since the comic started, I could see the panels, and I write what I see in the panels, kind of. Or I don't know if I do it that way. I think I do it where, as I'm writing it, I'm picturing it as panels. I don't think it's dictating it. I think it's just showing me how it's going to look as a comic book. I don't know.
Right.
But
you want you kind of like call it whatever you want. I mean, I watch it. Sometimes I can almost rewind the video in my head but sometimes I can't go back that far. It just literally just get my chickens out. It just that's it, Frank. Keep going, you know. So I just keep writing, and from there, you know, just reading other writers that I admire, how they did it, how they were not so verbose, but they were very set up a really beautiful picture, which, you know, someone with dyslexia, you know, only helps getting through that. So you start doing this, you know, really deep dive into ideas. I'm just going to close the book. You know, I'm just not really get it.
Yeah, it's too hard to think ahead. I like the way it works. I always think that I'm like, I'm never going to beat this idea. And then like a week later, I'm like, I have the best idea ever.
Let it go. Just really let it go.
Yeah, usually it's a dream or an idea pops in my head and then I have to go with it. Somebody asked me on the other podcast, they were like, are you streamlined when you write? And I was like, God, no, not even close. Like I'll get an idea and we'll jump and write it. I'll be like, I'm going to write this out. And then you can go back and read it. I'll jump to it and then I'll jump to something else. So I think at like when we were doing series 1, I think I had like 4 different chapters in 4 different books, like just being written. And then it's fun to try to connect them, to be like, how do I connect these? And right now I think in series 3, I think I have the underwater city, I have a library full of dragons, and I have a dimensional snow globe world. So I have 3 going right now. So, yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad. 3 worlds.
Not bad.
All right. But there's something to that, because my first writing venture was with my buddy Joe Palladino. We made an online web anthology called Tales of the Morgue: Unfortunate Deaths in Unfortunate Ways. And I found, like Frank's saying, I heard, I wish. I saw the film going through my head. And like you were saying, when I started doing the side story with Frank, it turned from the film strip into I saw the panels. And it's very interesting to see like what both you're saying, to where I'm still kind of in that in between, but seeing 2 different people's writing standards. But when I started writing, like Frank said, I went to, you know, the stuff that I wanted, I drew from, you know, that I wanted to read from. So I read the Clerks script and I watched Clerks. I read Office Space script and I watched Office Space, and I saw, wow, this script was great, but it's different from the finished product. And understanding, oh, okay, so this is just where this starts, is a good intro to it. I don't think it's the way to go all over, because once you unlock that creative writing door, you're going to instantaneously draw inspiration from everything. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting on the couch in the teal room that I'm watching a movie with Big Brother. And I'm like, oh, I gotta remember that. That's a great pull.
Yeah.
And you bring it in. And I don't know what, maybe those are just getting stored in your brain drive here, to where the muse is just kind of playing around. I don't know, but there's something magical that when you're talking to so many creatives at the point that me and Frank have right now, there's similarities I'm seeing that a lot of really great creative people notice and then find their way on how to exploit that to make their idea better. And it's great to be able to know, especially on a long platform like this, you're not alone. You're not crazy.
Well, that doesn't prove anything, but yeah.
Well, you may be crazy, but maybe you're just creative crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
There's no better way to be than to be creatively crazy.
Hey,
absolutely.
Picasso had a gun.
What's your next con that you're going to be at, or where can people find you?
So, always on Kickstarter. If you search Worthy Chaos, don't search Redemption. It was a horrible name. But if you search Worthy Chaos, we're the only thing that pops up. And we always have one live, and we usually have either a live one and a pre-launch, or a live and a pre-launch. Right now, issue 9, though when this is seen, I don't know. It'll be issue 9 is March 5th through 3 weeks after that. I don't like to do it for too long. It's too stressful. My goal is 1 week. 1 week campaign. That's the goal.
Really? 1 week?
That's quick.
That's my goal. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I actually funded this time in 2 hours, doubled it in 12 hours, and tripled it in 5 days. So
Holy
yeah, I
shit.
could have gone. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was good. I mean, I got an extra 1,500, but I in a week I had almost 4,000. So yeah, I my goal in like a year or two is 1 week. And if if I have enough backers because I have very loyal but broke fans, just like me. So they probably can't do monthly now, but eventually if I get enough backers, I would love to do 1 week every month.
Cue the Garth Brooks music, man. I love it.
What conventions are you going to be at? Where can we find you?
Oh, I don't like conventions. I like going to them as a guest because ever since I went to one and I missed seeing Sean Astin and Kevin Smith, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I am always at Nashville Con, and it's always the first weekend, I think, in June. So June 1st and 2nd. Yeah, June 1st and 2nd this year, I'll be at Nashville Comic-Con. I love it. I love the people. I love how it's busy enough and big enough to bring in people, but it's not overcrowded where they can't hear you. Like I went to Lexington. It was a huge con that was like 3 buildings and no one could hear me. And I'm an Italian New Yorker. So if you can't hear me,
oh, you're loud.
There's something wrong. Yeah.
Oh, I know the type. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, if you can't hear me, something's wrong. But I like the smaller cons. So right now I have Nashville's a table at Nashville, and I'm hoping maybe if I'm ballsy enough to do a panel there next year. I don't know the rules. I've never done a panel, and
I think that you would really like a smaller con. Frank is involved with the Great Media Comic Con, which is coming April 13th and 14th. They're also on the 12th doing a event with the Media Theater. So the smaller cons, like one that Frank is producing, that may be something. If you look in your local area, you may find it because I've found Aleem Legit, who is on this podcast all the time of Alter Ego Comics. You know, so many different people that I've talked to, they you know, I really don't do like Jim Cantonelli. I don't like the big cons. It doesn't make sense for me. They go to the small cons. They clean house. They love it. The people are overall like, you know, from what I've heard, not just, you know, the con
they're there for you,
Frank
not for the big
my friends
stars.
are involved in. They're there for you. I went down to Ocean City. I went down to Blue Hen. I was watered like a plant. I was asked if I needed anything. You know, you get that attention at a smaller con to where, and then the community is more appreciative and more inquisitive about your projects. Where if these bigger cons aren't really working for you, maybe look at some local cons and reach out to them because a lot of people we're in Philadelphia area in the suburbs of Delco. And a lot of people, especially in this day and age, love going out to cons. And I know they want to see Worthy Chaos. They want to buy your product. Don't just swear off cons. Just go to the smaller ones around you.
Go smaller, medium size. You know, leave the big, you know, mega ones.
Yeah, I won't do a big. I will say my favorite one besides Nashville was one in Gatlinburg, where it was. I kid you not. I think it was like $20 a table or something, or $40 a table.
Oh wow!
And it was 1 day, and it was awesome. I got in there early.
You want to go down?
Yeah. What, $20?
Yo, I'll drive, man. Let's go.
I said there. Here, give me 2.
It was awesome. It was $20.
I'll buy one. Shit.
Yeah. I loved it. I made like $200. The people were really good. The table was pretty good. It was 1 day, so I didn't have to get a hotel. It was just Saturday, and it was my favorite. So I might look up them. You know.
I think you'll find a lot of success with the smaller cons because the bigger cons, they're great, and you get a lot of eye traffic. But that's where, like, I've been to big cons and big conventions, but when I was involved last year with the Great Media Comic Con, it was almost like a changing experience because I saw like all these local people who are, you know, really just trying to put on a good event. You know, it's like finding that indie movie to where everybody in the cast is passionate about what they're producing. So that's why we're all about indie here on the podcast of Tales of the Hunted, because people have passion behind the product, and that's where you're going to find the future of all content and media, because this is where all the bigs start, right here in the indie market. And it's where I think a lot of people are realizing, hey, there's this local con. Frank has been to so many goddamn local cons. I didn't even know were around us. He didn't even tell me he was going. And he's just like, hey, social media, I'm here. I'm like,
yeah.
Yo, dude.
Chattanooga, I don't know if you know Tennessee at all, but Chattanooga has like 3 a year. Like, I don't know what they're doing over there.
It's a lot. You know, that's quite a bit for, you know, a town that, you know, depending on the cities, you know, I've never been there. I've never even gone even through there. So I couldn't say yes or no. You know, so, you know,
It's
maybe one day,
I go a lot.
well, hey, I'll try Nashville. Anybody?
It's right down 95.
So Nashville, Nashville was $150. It's a much bigger table. It's the same length. I think it's 6 feet, but it's the widest table I've ever had. Like, I can put I don't know why it's awesome, but it's the widest table I ever had. It had like minimal stars, but enough to get them there. And it was just so well. I think I made like almost 500 there, my first con with the $150 table. It was, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm hoping that the hardcover will help. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, we like the trades and we like the big ones. And I'm like,
that's where you get people like me. That's I'm a compendium reader. Okay. That's why you sent me 7. I consumed all 7. That's how I am. I went, I have all 4 omnibuses of Sandman upstairs. Nice. I go through, I have Doomsday Clock. I love big books. I go to Ollie's. I buy compendiums. That's where I live in my comic market. Show me your whole story. That's where you're going to get people like me. Like, oh, I'll take this. Hardcover?
Yeah. I'm trying to do a hardcover a year. So the second one I'm going to order in like a month. It's going to be for October. The third one's a little trickier because it's 10 issues. So I'm trying to start this year so that I could do. So I'm doing like 7 campaigns this year. And then I'm probably going to have to do like 7 or 8 next year. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, so 3 is my favorite. So you're not supposed to have favorites, but 3 is my favorite. 3 is the original idea I had before I wrote 13 books. So 3 is the one that started it all. It's very Resident Evil, you know, stuck in a zombie infested town with other survivors. And
I love 3. 3 was that whole hell town was such, that's why I had to keep reading. I had to keep tearing through those pages because it felt Resident Evil. It felt like you were.
Wait till you see the next, like, man, issue 14 through 22 is just, it's Resident Evil 2. You know, it's just so, and they're gonna kill me. Every single page is like the worst cliffhanger you could ever have. You know, somebody gets bit by a zombie, or somebody's trapped in a room, or somebody just gets shot. Like the whole building collapsed. It's just like all the they're just
that's why
torturous things.
Compendiums to where even if you end that off on a cliffhanger, I type and I'm click. All right. Now let me go over to this other one. There are people like me, like, oh, you can leave me on a cliffhanger. I'm going to read when you're done a book, and I'll check you at the next one. You know, you got people like me out there to where you can put out this kind of content. You're like, damn, there's another one already. Okay. Yeah.
Good times. We've been talking for like what, an hour and how long have we been talking?
About an hour and a half. I got to tell you, this podcast, the length just kind of
for an hour.
Yeah, it goes long. It goes long. But
yeah, my husband, because I had it written down that it was an hour. So I told him, he goes, how long is it going to be? I was like, well, I have an hour. So he's like, so I'll see you tomorrow. Because I talk nonstop. I could talk for like 3 hours or 3 days straight.
We just did like, what was it? Like 2 hours with Marion Toro yesterday. Or, well, it was released yesterday. I'm green. Your what is it? Your carpool. Your episode's getting carpool laned.
Yeah.
Right there. So it'll be out before this weekend, and this is. It's been so fun talking to you. People always, I'm a talker. I'm a talker. Guess what? I am too. And I was a car salesman. I did this for a living. Talking to people is something.
I've sold cars.
It's a lot easier to talk to people than to sell cars because there's that whole thing of like, well, this is a business.
Yeah.
So I don't care if she's pregnant. Get that car sold before the water breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that too. I like I said, I could talk, nonstop about this, but that just made cons harder because I would talk about it and then there'd be like 3 people waiting. And I'd be like, I can't stop talking. I'm in like the middle of the talking to this one. But I do like the smaller ones. It did work out better. I did 10 last year that I never want to do again. And I'm going to stick to Nashville or local ones. And we're going to do that. So that'll work out. So if anyone wants to find me, I'll be in Nashville.
There you go.
Okay.
Hopefully they reach out because it's something like this to where I really think that with that smaller con market, you'll have that time to talk. And, it's something that you make one fan at a small con. You're going to get all of their friends. Because now they're going to be like, well, where do I get this book?
Yeah, and right now, issue 9 is in pre-launch. I just sent out the link today, and we have, let's see, 69 followers. Good number. And I'm very lucky because they are quick to sign up for the pre-launch. My friend, her pre-launches take forever. They eventually crawl up there, but I think she's been doing it for over a week and she only has like 40, which is not a competition, but she always says, how do you get so many? I was like, I don't know, you bring in more, but I have a lot more backers.
I gotta tell you, as soon as we launch his Kickstarter, I'm sending you the goddamn link. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Share, please.
Share it out. Oh my God. Your numbers. I'm just sitting here like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still surprised.
I don't even get 69 likes on a podcast. What are you talking about?
Well, it's really funny because I didn't do any advertising this time. I didn't do, usually a lot of people will post in Facebook, and I didn't. I posted twice, I think, a page. And then I was scared to just bother people, so I didn't bother. And then I have 150 backers, so I don't really know where they came from. But I have been more on social media. I used to be on Twitter all the time, and it was great. I have 5.3 thousand followers, but the algorithm's dead. I don't know what's going on over there.
You lost the Russian troll farms.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Elon came in and he was cutting some cobwebs out there.
Well, I mean, I don't mind the guy, but first of all, X really no porn's gonna come up when I'm searching X. But I used to get thousands of likes on now nothing. I don't even get views. I don't get anything.
Beginning of my podcast, I used to thank the bots that used to like the podcast. I thank them. I don't care. It's a like, Junior. Let's go.
And I used to hate Facebook, and now I have 5,000 followers, and they're very, very talkative, and I can talk to a lot of people. And I started asking people questions, which I never bothered to do before, and they kind of blow up, and now I'm scared to log on because I asked a question that blew up. I asked a simple question. If you can have your worst enemy watch a movie and not be able to turn it off, which in my head I was thinking Mystery Science Theater, but what movie would you have them watch? And it has 300 and something comments on it. And I posted idiot in 7 different ones. And my favorite part about it is a week and a half ago, another one blew up where I said, what's your favorite movie? Not really thinking about that this would be, so thousands of people answered. But it's funny to see some of the people on their worst movie post movies that were somebody's favorite in the last one. I was like, oh, that was somebody's favorite. But it's funny what they would choose. Some of them are very creative. You know, some of them are simple, like Twilight. You know, one of them was there's apparently a movie that's 3 days long. So I don't know, 3 days long. He's like, yeah, I don't have the name. I should have written it down, but he's like, it's
hold please. Hold please. What?
Yeah, 3 days. And then there was another one that's just a guy sleeping for 8 hours. I don't know what that's about. And then there's another one that was, shoot, what did he say?
2010, the next 3 days. That's the first thing that comes on.
No.
Let me go to Wikipedia.
Hey guys, sorry, I gotta step out. I got an extended birthday party thing, so I gotta step out. I gotta get showered and shaved and everything. It is so nice meeting you. I really hope to see you again. Please feel free to come back on.
Yes.
We'd love to have you.
We will definitely have you back.
Man, if you have time in October when I release my hardcover, I'd love to cut. It's my 2 years in comics.
Absolutely. We'll have you back on then. It's going to be an epic podcast.
Awesome.
I swear, this is actually a good step out because otherwise we're going to keep on talking. But
I can talk for 3 days.
This is the Tales of the Haunted podcast, gang. Yeah. And I am your host, Matthew Bucro, the Matt Man, with co-host Frank Percy, and our amazing guest, worthy chaos creator, Corissa Grant. Thank you so much for being on. We're going to have you back on in October, and I can't wait to consume more of your comics. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
But yeah, it's like a love story between the two, mixed with like ghosts and Anubis and like a battle of heaven and hell.
Okay.
Let's see here. Seraphina and Darvin. There we go. Seraphina and Darvin have an instant connection when they met as teenagers, quickly becoming inseparable. But one night destroyed both their worlds after a brutal murder of Sierra's parents by her demon-possessed brother. Thinking Darvin was killed along with her parents, the teen trained as a supernatural hunter, determined to avenge Darvin and her family. 10 years after that fateful night, demon omens brought Sarah and unexpectedly cross paths once again with Darvin. It wasn't the happiest of reunions, as they were both now trapped within a town full of monsters, demons, and ghosts, caught in the middle of a war between heaven and hell. And yeah, it's like this town gets ripped out. And it's a really good. It's like a really good, compelling. Oh wow, there we go. Hi. It's a really good, compelling story that I just can't like. I had to consume all 7 issues, and then when you're like this, because this makes good end credits. Let me send her the link. I said, I had to cancel because my voice was even shittier than this. And then I said, well, you know what would really help my voice is if you sent me the next issue of your story. It'll help my voice to get better. She said, nice try. My campaign ends in 6 days. I'll send it to you then. I'm like, okay. Yes. But it's good. I love the story. You know, it's a nice, like, kind of romance mixed with, zombies and demons and ghosts. Oh my, Right. She wrote and has credit for writing and lettering. Lettering.
Okay.
I got the chance to follow up with Brandon Spicer because we're going to get Brandon and his brother on in the future when the stars align. He sent me their comic because their stuff they did with Josh and PLB, they're taking that and putting it in its own issue, and so they're expanding out, on their own real good. And I love that story. I read through that, and because I was like, I'll tell you what I think. You can put it as a review, whatever you want to do with it. But I love their story. It is so good, so good. I'm gonna reread it again when we have them on. That's why any of the indie guys or gals that are out there that want to reach out to us, go to www.pjandwh.com and go over to the Contact Us page. It's probably /Contact Us if you want to go right there. Fill out the little form there, name, message, why you want to be on. Why do you want to be hunted? Let us know, and we would love to our fans.
Yeah, why should you be hunted? Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's called Tales of the Hunted for a reason, gang. We want our fans to hunt you, but you gotta tell us why.
Right.
And I just like, well, I got a cool idea. Okay. You know, a lot of these guests we've had on have, you know, paper to pencil, to page, proof of concept that they're selling, they're peddling when they, you know, bring out their wares. So one thing that I know all these guests and creators love, they love it when you hit that like button, you comment below, hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely.
Comment, like, and subscribe. It's one of those things that everybody says, but it not only matters to us, it matters to the creators and the guests that we have on here. Because I follow up with all the people that we have on here, and I'm friends with a lot of them, like Johnny Necro and Delco Spidey, Delco Batman. So excited I get to announce this in the end credits. We're gonna have not only Delco Batman, but we are going to have on the debut of Delco Robin as well. Delco's dynamic duo are debuting on the Tales of the Hunted podcast, gang. That really made my day yesterday when I was talking to Batman. His friend is Robin. We're gonna have Batman and Robin patrolling around Delco, doing the Lord's work, man. How awesome is that? Until then, game on! Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.